All right, everybody, we're back with Arianny Damian.
It was too good. We have so much more to share and to hear and to learn and to listen.
Yes. You know what? Get a notebook. I feel like this,
Yes.
what we're about to talk about now, is really going to change your life. Get a notebook or a notepad on your phone and get ready to take some notes so we can help you elevate, right?
Yeah, because as we're thinking about, right, going into a new year, which is just a few short weeks away, and by the time you hear this, you will probably be at the top of your year. So I think we often think about just, something about the new year tends to like shake us up. Like it's just like, I need a different strategy, right? And I think that strategy is critical because you can't just be out here without a playbook. Right. You can't be
just
out
winging
here
it.
just winging it. Like you can do that in certain seasons of your life,
Right.
but at some point you have to have a strategy. You have to be very intentional and strategic because like you don't want to miss out on an opportunity just because you didn't take the time to really learn from others and think about who I am, where I want to be, how do I want to show up, and what does this look like for me, and who do I need in order to elevate, in a way that is going to get me to whatever your goal is or whatever our goal is. And so talking with you, you mentioned in, the last episode, just, taking the initiative to start reaching out to folks on LinkedIn. Yeah. And I think LinkedIn is such a tool that we underutilize in a way. And I think it's partly because we were not prepared for the power of social media.
Or LinkedIn.
Well, just social media as a whole, right? Because think about like MySpace, like back in the day.
It was not.
It wasn't what this that's is. Not what it was intended
it was
for. It was fun. Like we were coders, we didn't even know it. We were, but I was just trying to find a boyfriend. I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, let me find a boyfriend. Like,
what's the perfect love song to make it play when people come on my?
Yeah. So I wasn't thinking about social media as ever a tool back in the day. I was just trying to be cute, and then it transitioned from that to Facebook,
Mi Gente and Black
See, I was never
Planet.
on Mi Gente or Black Planet.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess I was in a lot of things.
I think you might have been.
I was just
there.
learning things. Yeah, if you find me erased, don't call me, don't
She
text
said, don't
me.
even look.
I don't even know the login.
That wasn't me.
No, it was me, but I don't know the login.
Is it still a thing?
I mean, it could be. I don't know. Maybe it's underground or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right. But then Facebook happened, and I think took the world by surprise. I don't think any of us ever anticipated Facebook being what it initially was supposed to be, which is more like this social, like between college students. And because I remember when I was going to the University of Akron, like everybody's like, are you on Facebook? I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Like, what is Facebook?
What are you talking about?
Like, that's where everything was for like the campus. And so Facebook, and then Facebook suddenly became like your mom was on there, and I was like, I got a friend request from her one day. I was like, oh, this is officially
it's over, guys. It's over.
The jig is up. The jig is up.
Your grandma is on there, your uncle is on there, and then businesses.
That's when you needed two accounts, like your personal and then like the
But then you
public.
start changing your name.
Right.
It's no longer you. It's like your middle name and exactly, because you don't want people to find you. But then you have the Instagram and the TikTok and then the LinkedIn.
And we also have like, what is that thing called? What is that? Snapchat. You have Snapchat, which is really great.
Yeah.
And even like Vine was the catalyst for so much that's happening now.
Really?
In the short form, in the short form video world, Vine was like the you had like, I think it was 15 seconds or something, but like you would put together your Vine and it was just people being raw on social media, people doing crazy things, people being funny, people being weird. And I think that Vine really catapulted social media into being what it is now, in terms of now it's so video centric, because people want to be entertained, and they want to be entertained in a minute, and then they want to move on with their lives. And I think Vine created that. Like now people's attention span is like so short. Yeah. I mean, you have the first 3 seconds of a video to get someone to stick around.
Wow.
And it is so, so important what you do in those first 3 seconds, which is something like, I feel like I have learned so much about like society as a result of like getting more popularity online. It's been crazy.
And that's what you do. You have a firm. You do like alongside of your brother. You guys have like this media like firm. So tell us a little bit about just like your journey within entrepreneurship and just kind of like what, why, how, like what. And then I know we have to talk about LinkedIn, but I think that's all kind of encompasses like the work that you're doing and you're really passionate about.
Yeah. So me and my brother basically, so we started an art collective September of, I think, 2022. And we were basically like, you know, it was 4 of us. We were all just creative friends together. My brother did like photography. I used to sculpt clay and things like that. And then we had one guy that was doing like custom rug tufting. And then we have one girl that does crochet. So we were like, you know what? If we're just 4 artists, let's get a studio together. We'll just, you know, we'll do our thing all together. And so we were doing that for a while. And down the line, like as we were just like trying to gain more popularity with that, and I started doing things on social media and like sharing our journey, I started going viral on TikTok. And I was like, man, like this is crazy. I had a video up to like 1 mil, and I was like, this is just like, we had like orders coming in through the wazoo. Like we didn't expect it to go so quickly and be so popular. And I started really learning what social media can do for a business. Like the fact that making my silly little videos was making me a lot of money at the time, I was like, this is crazy and more people need to know about this. Yes. So I started like doing it. I started doing it just more regularly and just getting on my grind as a social media creator. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to learn more about the algorithms. I'm going to start recording everything I do and just put it up and just see what happens. And, over time, we all just got really, really busy. We haven't been able to, you know, do more things as artists. So the 4208 has kind of taken a back seat in things. But me and my brother are always on the move. We're always trying to do things. And as I learned more about like social media and things, he was at the time the marketing director for Columbus Fashion Council and Columbus Fashion Week. And so he was like, you know, he was taking on like private clients and helping different like foundations and organizations get their social media moving because he was learning a lot about it too. And he was like, you know, Arianny, and it's funny because while he did this for other brands, he himself was not on his creator grind. Mm-hmm. And I was getting on my Zoom. I was like, you know what? I'm about to make these videos. I'm about to, you know, see what I can do in this realm. And especially because as a marketing director, that's a part of my job anyway. So I was like, I got to learn this stuff. I'm going to learn these skills to be able to apply it to different places anyway. Mm-hmm. And so my brother was like, let's just start doing it together. And so we started, like, we have not even advertised one bit. Like, it's so funny because like our firm is something that we have been getting all of our clients as word of mouth, just people being like, look, they're killing it for me. You go in. And that is the strongest way to gain business because like, there's nothing like a referral. There is nothing like someone being like, they have done a good job. They'll do a good job for you. And so we just started taking on clients and working together and doing that. And while that was happening, I was like, if I'm going to say that I'm going to do this for other people, I'm going to do it for myself first. I'm going to prove to myself that I have what it takes for people to turn around and pay me for this service. Mm-hmm. So I started like a social experiment on my social media. And I was like basically sharing like, okay, 2 weeks of taking social media seriously. And I gained like 500 followers or something. And then it was like 30 days of taking social media seriously. And I had gained like 1,500 followers. And then it was like day 45, day 60, day, whatever. When I first started this, I was like at like 1,200. And then within a couple months, I ended up getting to like almost 7K. And so I was like, okay, we got something here. Like I feel like I understand. I feel like I'm capable. Let's get it moving. And so we started taking on clients, and it's been interesting as an entrepreneur that also has a full-time career and then is doing things in the nonprofit space and is doing things in the community. Like there is such a balancing act here. I'm a Libra. And for me, I've never like needed balance more in my life. And it has really, really taught me about the importance of, number one, writing everything down or finding a system that works for you. Yeah. So whether you're a list person or you're I'm going to put it on my calendar person, I tried so many different things. There was a point I was scheduling like when I'm going to eat, when I'm going to be driving a place, when I'm going to be everything on my calendar, because I'm someone that, because when I have a lot of things going on, I really, it takes, I try to make sure I put as much as I can into everything I do. Mm-hmm. But if something falls off the wayside, it really can catapult me into like deep sadness because I never want to feel like I'm letting people down. Yeah. So I really tried to build out this like checks and balances system for myself. And I have found that is the number one way. If you are trying to enter the entrepreneurial space, you need to find a system and you need to find one that works. Mm-hmm. And even if that system is relying on others to help build into your, so for example, if you know you're not a very organized person, what is that organization worth to you? Is it worth it to pay this $250 a week to an assistant or something to help keep you organized? It may be an extra investment, but it's an investment in yourself and an investment in making sure that you can do the things you need to do.
Right.
And my brother really taught me a lot about like almost like a contractor subcontracting out. If this is something that's my time is worth this much. If this is something that's gonna take a certain amount of my time that I'm not even that good at anyway, why wouldn't I pay an expert to do it really well and keep me organized?
Right.
And that's something I think a lot of people, when you grow up in a certain mindset, like I feel like I grew up in the scarcity mindset. You know, I only had this much to deal. This is what I got, and I have to keep it all for me. I can't look at paying people to do stuff if I can learn it myself. But then we also have to look at, you know, yes, you can. It's about how much your time, like your time, and how much it's worth to you to making sure that you can be an expert in what you do. So maybe rely on experts in that other space. And it's worth paying other people. And you know what? Go ahead and bring your friends along. Like, you know, if you have a friend that's good at doing something, go ahead and compensate them for their work and make your business better while you do that. Because if it's like I said, like lift as you climb. There's no reason we can't all win.
Yeah.
We all have our different skill set.
Yes. What is the system that works for you, Arianny?
The
What did you
system
come up
that works for me is I'm a list person. I am a to-do list person. I keep different calendars. So I keep a calendar for like things that in my professional life, like business meetings, et cetera. And I sync it with things that are going on with my like organizations, nonprofits, and things going on in that other space. I just make sure that they're like linked up, but I really keep everything that I can on my calendar. Like I feel like people my age don't use their calendars, which is crazy. Like I'll write down, like if someone like says like, hey girl, let's go get dinner, I'll put it on my calendar.
Right
does
away.
that.
And I get clowned. I get clowned.
I'm the same
She
way.
does that. I forget, and I'm like, we're meeting today.
I'm like, girl, we talked about this. You didn't put it in your calendar.
It's on my calendar.
You don't have to tell me once because as
And
soon
I'm
as you
older.
say it, I said,
As
well,
soon
what's
as
the
you say
day?
it, I'm like, it's right there. I got the time. I got the
What time?
And
That's it.
Yeah,
Granted,
that's not me. Yeah, I'm getting there.
look, that is so like for me, I gotta say
I
that has
feel
really
you.
changed my life. And I feel like it's funny because people look at me funny for doing it, but I'm like,
She does
no,
it.
this is like really how I keep myself accountable to where I gotta be and when.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing is like I also have found now with all of these different things going on, I have to be in a lot of different places at once.
Yep.
And so I have to make sure I'm well prepared for those things. And so yeah, like I keep a to-do list. I keep a calendar that tells me where I got to do and when. And then I also, one thing that I try to do is I kind of communicate what I have going on to my friends, like a decent amount. I keep people around me updated to keep myself accountable. That is something I really started to get into the habit of doing because even if it falls off my plate, I got people in my corner. It's not gonna fall off theirs. And so, you know, that's like that's the tiers for me is like, I also talk about what I have going on because it helps my friends also understand and give me grace. If I'm not available for something or if I can't do something, you already know why. And I have friends that are luckily are in a space that they're understanding enough to be like, you know what, girl, I get it. And that's adult friendships now is you got to be able to give grace where I can't hang out all the time. I can't do this all the time. Right. And you know what? I want to talk about what I have going on. I want to hear about what you have going on so that we can understand why we're in this place. If I can't see you for 2 weeks, girl, sorry.
Or a month.
But or a month, like you got to understand. And that's kind of, you know, that's kind of how I keep myself organized for the most part is just write down as much as I can. Cause I have a thyroid condition and it messes with my ability to remember. Yeah.
I love that because I was paying for an app because I have so many calendars as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to pay for this app. And it's going to have all my calendars in one place. I don't know what happened. And they started not syncing. And I started seeing a couple problems. So I had to Google. I'm like, well, how can I sync them without getting this stupid app? So actually, my iPhone, the calendar, you can add different accounts.
exactly.
And it all sync them. Mind you, I have had an iPhone for a long time. But this is when I figured it out. And now all my things are synced. So even though one specific calendar doesn't sync with our for privacy things, but I just add the thing in there. Like, okay, this is from this time to this time I have this. So to summarize, how did you stay organized when you are a super busy person? You should have all your calendars sync. If you can, have your calendar sync. I think that's helpful. Like Christina and Arianny, write down things when people tell you, right? Don't be like me there. And also keep a to-do list. And tell your friends. If you have people that you care about, that can be good though. Don't tell people that they're not gonna help you guys. Don't waste your time. But if you have a couple people, key people that can keep you accountable, go to those.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And having those conversations too of like, what do you have coming up this week? And that's something that even like being like a check-in friend and an accountability friend, that's awesome. A lot of people need that friend. Become that friend. Be that friend, but have that friend too. Yeah. Because that is something like having an accountability person with you along the way of things. Even if someone can't relate directly to everything that you are doing, knowing doing that check-in with your people and being like, what do you got going on? You can find places where you can fill holes for them. You can find places where you guys can help each other with things, or even like, hey, I'm working on this. What do you got going on? You want to work on that? Okay, cool. And I feel like that's another place where like as adult friendship, like your friendships evolve as you get older. Yeah. And that's another place that I think is really, really helpful, is like not turning your friendships into businesses, but really talking more with your friends about what is going on in their lives as a whole. And being able to like, you know, if there's places that you can come together, that you can do that, because it's fun to co-work. It keeps you on track. It's fun to go to the gym together. Yeah. It's fun to do things with someone that they can also feel your grind and you can grind together. And then you're not getting those phone calls talking about, girl, I haven't seen you in a month. Da-da-da. Well, you know, that's a place where we can come together and we can help each other be better too.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's, you know, and evaluating your friendships in that space, right? Because if you're finding that you are hanging on to relationships or friendships and that's not the case, or where you're feeling like you are being like constantly like shamed, or you're feeling like the conversation is still not changing, because I think you could be friends with someone and, you know, understanding that you are at different seasons, and that's okay. Like you all ain't got to be in the same, you know, the same path. But if you're not feeling like those relationships are fruitful, and not in a way like you need to gain something, but if you're leaving those encounters feeling more drained and feeling more like, you know, because you can't be everybody's accountability partner.
You can't.
You know, because there's only so many hours in a day.
You can't. I have some friends I'm tired of trying to keep them accountable.
Yeah,
too.
It's like, girl, listen, you
got
gonna do it. You gonna work on it or you not.
I can't be more on your grind than you are.
Right.
Yeah. Like I need a text from you, not me to you. You need to tell me when you did it. Okay?
It's too much. It's too much, because I don't think it's fair, you know, to constantly feel like you are, because you are already so accountable and responsible for so many things. And especially like if you have children or parents you're taking care of, or, you know, it just becomes too much. So just being able to prioritize yourself in a way to saying like, listen, yes, you want to, you know, you want to be a good friend and you still want to be able to support others, but having boundaries within that, I think that's something that, you know, we need to take more time as individuals to start really leaning in on like, how do I feel when I'm hanging out with these people? Right. Or how do I feel when I leave an interaction or an event? Or because I think ultimately like being able to say, listen, like these core 2-3 folks, these are my people. Right. And if I only have, you know, an hour or two a month to hang out with somebody, it's going to be one of those 3 people. And I have to be okay with that. And I think it's okay to be able to, you know, it's no beef. There's no problem. There's no drama. We're just, you know,
in different seasons.
It's different seasons.
Exactly. And maybe those things realign again, but we're just in different seasons. And that is something like, I think that a lot of times people feel like bad for not having like these big friend groups like others may have, like on social media. For example.
Have you seen those Friendsgiving? I'm like, I don't have no friends because ain't nobody invite me to no pretty party like that.
I mean, when I go to your house, like our Friendsgiving is like 2 people.
My Friendsgiving.
Yeah. Okay, there's a thing there.
Yeah,
but anyway,
she had a situation. I only had one friend that I invited. It was her, and she didn't come.
She's so light. Like,
Ken talked about that last night. He was like, what happened with Maylin at the
you know what it is? Because I love his food, okay? Her husband cooks. All year I'm like, listen, I didn't even eat. I don't know who's watching this. I didn't even eat that much on Thanksgiving because I was like, I'm going to eat on Sunday at Ken's and Christina's house.
She said, I'm about to get down.
And I went to bed so sad that day. I said, Lord, I don't know if you wanted me to lose a pound or something. I was the only human this Thanksgiving that lost weight, okay? My nutritious guy was like, dinner, you did good. I said, no. I didn't.
Not on purpose.
I ain't celebrating this, okay? Because I had a meal prepared. But you know, Jesus, you had a plan and it's
I
cool.
know, it's cool.
But next year I'll be there early because I try to tell people that were with me. It's
Yep.
fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next time. But yeah, he cooks amazing and she makes some really good macaroni and things. Let me tell you, they throw it down, okay?
It's
I'll be
literally-
looking out for my
Don't worry,
invitation.
now I'm gonna add you to the Friendsgiving list. just to be able to-
Listen, it's giving.
Yeah. But to your point, social media do be having you like thinking you gotta have
and
like
the trips, this friend
Yes,
people
the
these
lunch
trips.
trips, the 15 people. I'm like, how-
15?
Like,
we tried to plan a friends trip. It was so they were really all my old
Yes,
friends from like
yes.
growing up, and it was
Yeah.
supposed to be like, what was it for? My birthday? I don't remember what it was for.
It was supposed to
something.
be like a cool fun.
Like throwback.
girls.
Let's go
Yeah, let's
to
go out.
Tulum. We was just trying to like get out the country, right?
Now, this is not to throw shade at nobody. So if you're
No.
listening, because you're listening, you're one of those people that were there in the group.
Yeah.
We just want to share the story.
Yes.
Okay.
So we was like, we're gonna go. It's gonna be this whole thing. So one of them was giving like all these suggestions on like travel arrangements, and the whole time I was like, that seemed real complicated. Like I'm the type where I'll just pay a little extra. And like I just want a straight shot.
Yeah,
I'm not looking
right to where I gotta go.
Listen, I'm not looking for the cheapest flight. I'm sorry, I don't want to stop in 3 cities.
don't give me no spirit.
I don't want to do all that. I'm not
like
interested.
spirit.
I said, how much is it to do it the way that grown-ups should do it at this point? Like, if we can't just fly straight there, I don't want to go.
We're in
Like,
20. I mean, at least one stop because
at
we're in
least
Columbus.
one stop. Yeah, so
so-
I'm fine with that. And so they
Yeah.
had all these suggestions. So the whole time me and her was like, oh yeah, that's cool. We'll roll with it. We'll do it this
Yeah.
way.
the separate chat, we were like, we're not.
The separate chat, it was like, wow, this seems like real complicated. But we were going with it, right? We was going
This
with
was
it.
a group, right?
This
We're
was
gonna
a
support,
group. We were
right?
all going out the country, and we were very excited. And then, like, it
Little
went
by little.
by little. This person couldn't go no more.
Right.
That person couldn't go no more. We didn't pick the complicated flight for the
Right.
one person. She didn't even end up going. So
Dang.
then we kept the original travel plans because we already had bought the tickets based on the group's recommendation.
Oh, God, yes.
We fly
Oh,
into
shit.
that
I
airport
remember that now.
only to find out that that whole travel arrangement was not
Epic fail.
it was a no-go. So we got to Florida.
Oh, God, that day.
Oh,
So we went from one
Yeah.
airline to another just to save like
Few bucks. Not worth it.
literally
Never
like,
again. Never. No, things happened to me once. Never again.
Never again. So we're like, we get off the plane. We're trying to head to the other airline
Yeah.
to check in. It's this whole thing. They're like, yeah, you had to be here like 3 hours ago. Like you can't even board this flight. Like, unfortunately, like, I don't know what y'all did, but it's a no-go. So she
We were
and
going to
I-
Mexico,
We were
so-
going to Mexico. And so we're standing in the airport. We just look
oh
at
my
each other.
gosh.
Mayleen's like, it's cool. We're gonna go book a whole new flight and we're gonna figure it out. Hopefully
We're gonna go.
We had her husband looking. I was looking. We're like,
so
where
we
was I first?
went and sat down and we found a flight that was leaving like in an hour or two. Had to book a whole new flight.
new thing. Pay
This
whole
whole-
new
Y'all real
thing.
for that for not turning around going home.
No. Oh no. We actually launched a podcast that time. That trip.
We launched this podcast in Mexico
In that trip.
at that trip.
Yeah, it had to happen.
It had to happen.
And we
So-
needed a break.
As you should.
Yes. So we brought this equipment with us to Mexico. So then we got to Mexico. They pulled her out of security.
Oh, sure did.
And I was nervous because I don't think I've ever been to Mexico like a
Yes.
direct flight like that before.
Yeah.
So like she had all this equipment in a
my
backpack.
bag.
And so all of a sudden we're coming out the gate and the people
Oh my
with the
gosh.
dogs and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
and
they pulling up.
customs. They come and grab her and they're like, we need you to come with us. And I was just like,
Oh Lord.
and the whole time I'm like, well, I'm with her. And they're like, yeah, but we don't want you. We want her. And I was like, but we're together. And they just were like, no. So
she said,
tell my
she said, you see her? You see her?
right.
You got me.
I was like, no. And so they were like, we need to search your bag. And I'm thinking like, I know damn well she ain't got nothing in that bag. But they were just so like rude about it. You hear
Yeah.
about things in Mexico. So the whole time I'm
Girl,
like, the whole time. And so I'm paired. So they just, because they were like, what does she have? And we
What
had
is
a
that?
microphone.
Yeah.
So they just thought it was odd
Yeah.
that we're traveling into
Two
Mexico
women
with
a bunch
microphones,
of-
with like
And expensive equipment.
Yes.
So they like, there gotta be something in this equipment. And we
Oh
were
my
like,
God.
It has to be drugs, guys.
Right.
Just get me.
Girl.
They're not gonna record. They don't know how to record. They don't look like they can record
Right.
nothing.
And so we were like, no, we have a podcast. Like we had to pull it up.
Yes.
Like it was
Shut
like a whole thing. And so the whole time, but I say that to say like, the whole time she and I should have just booked this trip.
Yeah.
It would have been less
Stressful.
less stressful. But we was trying to like, we was
Cool
trying to
down.
be like,
Yeah.
this big
We were
friend
open
group.
because we always travel together, right? Like we
Right.
don't travel with people, so we're like, we're gonna be open, right? We want to
Yeah.
be, we're gonna try new things, right?
Yeah.
They want to go, they're excited, they're
Exactly.
great, beautiful people. Let's
love
do
them.
it.
I still
Yeah.
love them to this day.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
But
them.
Instagram was like, y'all should go on a girls trip. 5,
God.
10
Yes.
y'all. And we was like,
Right.
it just needed to be me and her. And
And it was a great trip.
It makes it
And then her
simpler.
husband met us after, so we actually did like a thing, right?
Yes.
So she was there forever, guys.
I was there for like
okay?
10. We were there for what, 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, about 5 days.
The day she left, my husband flew in. And I
Yes.
stood
I
for
love
another
it.
5 days.
Good
so
for
I was
you.
like living the best life that month.
She don't get on the beach, but that's a whole different conversation for another
know it
day.
is.
Who go to the beach and don't get on the beach? Like,
I don't get in the
guys.
water because that water just, I know there's sharks out there.
Girl,
that water you
you
can't
are funny
see.
for that.
I will look at it.
I didn't see
want to
no
smell
sharks.
I
it.
want to look at it. I want to take in the vibes.
I'll take in the energy, the smell, the vibes, but I'm gonna swim in the pool. I just can't do it. And she's like, "We're not gonna get in the water." I said, "You can go get in the water."
I did.
But I know there's sharks in that water. That water
This-
is dark, and I don't know what
Girl,
is in
you-
there.
There was other
I'm
people
too scared.
before me. I let people be first. So if the sharks come, they eat
Yeah,
them
they can
first,
get them.
right?
Exactly.
No,
I'm
no.
observing.
That's why you always, just stay a little closer.
But just too paranoid.
I know. I have a strategy for the
Yeah,
beach,
she know.
guys.
I love that for her. It's just not gonna be
I
me.
begged her. Okay, I'm like,
I
come
waited for her
on.
on the beach.
my
I could see her just in case.
You
something
you
went
supported
wrong.
friend. Yeah, you was
I
lifeguard.
was
You were
there.
the
I was
lifeguard.
watching her the whole time because
I
I was like,
love
her
it.
mother will kill me if I don't come back from Mexico with her daughter. Like, it just has to happen. Like, that has to happen.
That was a fun trip.
Yes.
And it had to happen. So see, I think everything also always works out for your own good, right? And I think sometimes we were there and we're like, what is happening? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
When there's a delay, I'm like, it happened for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got there, it was beautiful. We got to do
yeah, it was
business,
fun.
which is what we went to have fun, but really to launch this podcast. And what a better
And we
place.
planned a lot
Yes,
that day.
we came
And the
back
thing
with
is,
like,
that is something I have really come to learn is if something doesn't work out, there's probably a reason.
Yeah.
There's probably a reason. If something didn't go the way that you planned it, you know what? Like, you just got to go. I used to stress so much. Like, I would give myself so much anxiety and just be so, and like, still from time to time, I have my moments. But like,
'Cause you're
you
human.
really, exactly. Yeah. Like, I feel like you really have to come around to understanding, like, not everything is going to go the way that you envision it every time. And if it does, maybe you're not thinking big enough yet.
Right.
Like that's, yeah.
Yeah. And just being at peace with it, and just learning, like you said, it's like, it just wasn't work. It wasn't meant to be. Like, and I think as entrepreneurs, whether you're an entrepreneur in corporate America, just as an individual, like being able to have enough emotional intelligence and
Yes.
just like an understanding to saying like, I'm not going to get upset about this. I'm not going to be tight. I'm not going to be mean, or I'm not going to lash out. Like, that takes time to get to that level of growth and understanding. And I think that's a matter of being really in tune with yourself
Doing
and
the
saying
work.
like, I could feel it. Like, I feel like I'm about to pop off, or I feel like I'm about to be upset, because it there's nothing you can do. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing at the end of the day. And I actually had a meeting with my therapist yesterday, and I was talking to her about a situation that I've been dealing with a group of individuals. And I was like explaining to her that I was like, I feel like this person like said something that, kind of was disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like I kind of want to like discuss it. Like I, almost
with the person.
with the person.
Oh, here we go.
And so, and my therapist was like, what is that going to do for you?
Yeah, what do you-
though?
what
Like,
you wanna get
yeah,
out of
you
it?
may point out like, what they did, but then at the end of it, now you're going to be in an awkward situation with a person that you have to continue to work with.
Right.
So is it really worth in that moment for you to, just to check somebody, or to feel like you were like, hey,
Stood your
you
ground.
stood your ground, but then now like you just crumbled, you crumbled everything else because
Right.
now you created this unnecessary tension. And so she like really started, and that's something I've had to work through because and she knows, but because it's I think going kind of
She's really good now, though, guys.
I'm much better. But like you, I grew up in a way that it was like you constantly was just on the defense. Like, you're not gonna check me, you're not gonna play me.
Right.
Like I've worked hard. And so it's just constantly like having to prove yourself.
Yes.
Like, I think that's because of the way I grew up, like constantly feeling like I had to prove myself. Like
Yeah.
I didn't finish college, I was a teen mom, I don't come from money. I don't come from all of this like political realm. Like,
Right.
so I constantly felt like I'm, having to fight to be in certain rooms, to be able to accomplish certain things. So I kind of had like that chip on my shoulder for many years, feeling like I'm always still like on this defense. And at some point, you know, she told me this probably about a year ago. She's like, you got to stop thinking you still got to fight.
Or prove something.
Oh my gosh.
She said it. She's like, you got to stop. You no longer fighting.
Right.
And she was like, the life you are living right now is the life you prayed for. It's the life you've been fighting for. So if you keep trying to fight, you're going to miss out on everything that you've been working and fighting for. You are in that season right now. Yeah. So like, you no longer have to do that. So like, kind of like what you were describing with your mom is just like that base level. Yeah. Like, I got to get out of that scarcity. I got to get out of that. Like, I'm fighting for what? Like, you're there. Like, no one now what you're going to do.
The thing is like that I feel like I've really been trying to learn so much is like silence is so loud. Mm-hmm. Silence can be so loud and you can be so powerful without having to. I've always been that girl too. I've always been very lash out. Like I am a very loud individual as it is. Mm-hmm. So I feel like when people me quieren sacar la casilla, I'm like,
like what you want to do?
If you want to tussle, yes, because that's the thing. I'm very sharp with my words too. I like to use my wit. Yeah, and so, but I have learned like, you know, when it comes to your ego, right? When you really allow your ego to become your friend, and you absorb your ego, and you allow your ego to act more strategically, because you don't have to cut somebody by walking up and slicing them. You can really, if you are very, it's the kill them with kindness. It's the kill them with kindness situation. Mm-hmm. You can do so much with so little, because here's the thing is, people don't deserve certain amounts of energy from you sometimes.
That's so true.
Down.
And that's where like, you know, it's about, you know, am I willing to give my power? Am I willing to give this much to this person if I feel like I've been wronged this much? At the end of the day, I feel like it also comes to like a point of understanding, release of like, the universe will deal with you, honey. Oh yeah. It don't have to be me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and I think, you know, there's a time where I think as you get older and you learn the lessons, right? Things happen to you and we always say, what is the lesson here, right? Because there's always a lesson. So what is it? And now that I'm asking that, I don't have to think about this is happening to me. It's like this is happening for me, so I can change something. Because like, you know, for some of us that did the wrong people all the time.
That's the abundance mindset, girl.
Okay,
I'm like, it's about the abundance.
I mean, I live in abundance. That. I love it. Like we are, the energy that we have, even the center, is due to the abundance mindset. Like remember sitting in my living room thinking about abundance and what we have, and really taking inventory of what you already have. Because when you are in the scarcity mindset, you can think about everything you don't have. Exactly. Right. But when you start thinking about what you have, you can start saying, wow, I have more than I thought, and I have everything I pray for. So why am I tripping, right? But I also learned, besides what is the lesson here, is that I don't have to prove to people certain things. Right. So if you think I'm a B, cool, I am. I feel like I work really hard to get here, and it's not a B like you intended to be. For me, a perception of a B is that I work really hard, I'm assertive, you know, I work really hard. So I don't know what your perception of B is. My perception is cool for me. So when people insult me, because I'm Dominican, I speak Spanish first, you can cuss me out in English and I don't really feel it. I think it's funny. You cuss me out in Spanish, and now it's personal, right? I think the language gets a little bit deeper, and I always look at the source. So who is cussing me out? Who is talking about me, right? Because if you are jealous, most of the time people are talking about you, they're throwing shade, they're behind your back saying BS. They're jealous of you. Yeah. They want this life that they see on Instagram. They have no idea the bloody tears you ever had, right? Outside the camera. Yes. But yet they're here hating on you for what they perceive you have that they don't have. Yeah. They never stop to ask, how did she get it? Maybe I can get it too. If God gave it to her, he could give it to me too. Right. So we are working always on this, that we don't have to prove to people or explain to people who we are and why we do things. Like we're just going to do, the intention is to do well. The intention is to do good. The intention is to grow and help people grow. That's it. I don't have to call you and tell you nothing. I don't have to justify it to you. I don't have time for that, because we're trying to grow. Exactly. So if people will stop trying to validate, right? And I think for her, amazing journey here. She is in a position, right, Christina, that a lot of people are praying to be, or never even dream, like our generations, our families, right? Like she's in a political position, she's in all those things. Right. And she did it from the ground up. Right. With not really mentors or help. We figured it, I mean, really, one day you should hear, like, we figured this out by the internet, right? Yeah. And some things that really helped us. So I just want people to know, as they're listening, don't prove yourself to people. Prove yourself to yourself. That's that's the only person you have to prove to yourself. I don't want to be better than nobody, but better than who I was yesterday. That's who I'm trying to be.
Right.
And if you can do good, do good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And also learn how to elevate. So some of the things we talked about today was how to get your systems right in order, how to stay organized, how to subcontract. One thing as we're getting ready to wrap up, but we don't want to,
I
is to
know.
talk about LinkedIn real quick because
Yeah.
I am horrible. I'm getting better. Let me use my words right, guys. I'm getting better at LinkedIn. For others, it could seem like I'm horrible because I don't follow up, right? And I meet a lot of people and I love people like you. But because I'm so stretched sometimes, people will send me a message like a happy birthday. It's in March. Everybody's coming up. And I may not get to it till like June, July. And then I'll be like, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. How are you? So do you have any strategies that you can share with us for those of us that are trying to build and have a better relationship in LinkedIn? Like what are some 2 to 3 steps we can take?
So I would say the number one thing, and this is like really social media in general, but LinkedIn specific, something I have learned is when you allow tasks like replying to people or posting something or whatever to pile up and you have to do a bulk of it at the same time, you're going to sit on LinkedIn for 30 minutes, an hour, whatever. Versus you see the message come through, take care of it right there. Get it off the plate right there. Because at the same, like when things like pile up, that's when they become a big task to do. Versus if you see something and you want to, it's somebody you want to get back to right away or whatever. Even if you can't do it in the moment, for example, get it right out of the way, then pick a time every day, whether it's, right before you go to bed or like while you're having lunch or something, whatever it may be. But picking a time in your day where you're kind of sat and you can kind of get through a couple of things at a time, because if you let it all stack up, it'll be a lot to handle at the same time. Versus if you just go ahead and let it get off the plate, just reply to that quick comment real quick. Just get in there and just very quickly get it off and check that box. And then other than that too, well, something that I do to like, I post often. I post like every other day, if not every day. And something that I do is I treat it like my little professional blog. Like it allows me to take that time. You know how people journal, you do your gratitude practice, things like that. LinkedIn, I've started to treat as my professional journal because people do want to see your journey. People, like I was just talking about, that people want to see you win. You want to see others win. And also, if you have questions or things along your journey you do want to talk about, LinkedIn can be a great forum for that. It's like why Reddit is so popular. All these people are having the same idea, but it takes one person going in there and posting like, y'all ever thought about blank and blank? And then a bunch of people shoot under there and they're like, I have been thinking about this for whatever amount of time. We should talk about that. How do we get deeper into this? And like, you can really treat LinkedIn as such a great place to learn and to really create conversations around the stuff that you want to be talking about anyway. Maybe I don't have time for a lunch with this person, but we've had some discourse under my LinkedIn post where I was talking about something that really matters to me or my industry. So I literally, at the end of the night, I sit in my bathtub like Rev Run. I sit in there with my little Blackberry.
With the
I be like, with the bubbles, girl.
I love it.
I think about things that have happened in my day, or things that are going on in my industry, and I reflect on those things, and I treat that place as a forum to be able to open larger conversations. And because it is public like that, and this is, a place where people do feel free to share their opinions. And if I'm asking for them and discussing things, people flock to it because there aren't a lot of people right now, I feel like, utilizing LinkedIn as a place that you can really idea share. And like, I love idea sharing, like, especially in the professional space, because there's so many people thinking about the same things. And if we come together, we can do something about it. So yeah, like I would say, like, really throughout your day, like I really try to encourage people to capture more of their day. If you are inspired by something in a day, take a picture of it or take a mental note of it. I use my notes app in my iPhone. I'll put a little, like, basically like a sentence where that'll be the beginning, like, overall prompt of my entry for that day. And then I just go in and I talk about, like, things that I have seen, things that I am learning from. There's not a lot of people, I feel like, sharing their journey so authentically.
Yeah.
And since I've started doing that on LinkedIn, it has given me so much validity within my field, because people are like, yo, she is, like, being real about it. She's talking about her journey. She's talking about, something that a presentation she just looked at. And, like, even if somebody couldn't make it to a thing, you can kind of be that recap place for someone to come in and be like, you know what? That is really, really cool. And then also people want to connect with you even more. Like if you're first starting your career, I would really, really say reach out to as many people as you can, but also it can be something to ask for, but you also have to give. And even if you feel like you don't have a lot to give, your experience is so valid for sharing.
Yeah.
Because everyone has a different journey throughout. No one that I know right now has like from the beginning of their time in the professional space wanted to be what they are exactly right now.
It's true.
Everyone has this crazy bumpy way that they've arrived to where they are, and everyone wants to know about it because that is how like that's just how you inspire. Mm-hmm. That's how you inspire, and also how you give others like it helps others with their goal setting too. Because if you don't know what's out there, how could you ever know that you could aspire to do that?
Yeah.
So you might as well share your journey. You honestly might as well.
I love that so much. Well, as we really wrap up, Dalton, I promise, right now, we're going to wrap up. I do want to get one quick question from you, just the top of the head, right out the dome. Thinking back in your journey, thinking about everything you've gone through, accomplished, just everything, what advice would you have given your younger self?
Focus on your identity and your community first. When you come from a place where it's bigger than me, it's bigger than my friends, it's bigger than, my immediate family, it's about our overall health and wealth as a community. You can really, really do big things. When you are thinking beyond your immediate connections, it really allows you to really figure out what you actually want to do, because it's about where your place in this world is and how you can grow and help others grow in that place in the world. Everyone has a different passion. And I think that you can only really, really find that passion through being exposed to a lot of different stuff. The way to be exposed, go talk to more people. Go to more events by yourself, y'all. Go to more events by yourself. Go and find new places and new people and new things, because community is it is so important. And then the identity piece, don't try to do what everybody else is doing to gain notoriety or whatever it is. It took me so much to try to get to the core of who I was, because I was so focused on everybody else and who they were and how I can be like them. But the only way for you to really, really maximize your potential in anything is to get down to the nitty-gritty. What is important to me? What do I want to do with my life? What kind of things what's in my power to be able to change the world around me? And yeah, I just feel like until you know yourself, you will never be able to know something else fully. You have to really try to understand yourself first. And whether that's inner work, going to therapy, going and meditating, going in whatever feels right, try a bunch of stuff until it feels right. And that's how you can really, people are always talking about how do I know myself though? How do I get to know myself? How do I gain my personal identity? You just have to try a bunch of stuff. You have to try as much as you can so that you can know what feels right and what doesn't. And if you fail, that's okay, because you always will fail upward. I have failed at so many things in my life. Like even just starting that art collective, it wasn't something that was forever, and that's okay. Yeah. Like not everything that you do, not every project that you take on is going to last forever. Everything has a season, and it's okay to come out of those seasons and let go of some things to make room for others. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I feel like we could talk to you for like ever and ever and ever.
I would love to do this
yeah,
again.
We're gonna bring you back for sure, because I think it's just like even like a check-in, right? Like in a few months. And so well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for just being so open and transparent, and just for the way I feel like you're just sprinkling like kindness, joy, inspiration around the world. And that's really, really exciting. So as you know, here at True Print for Life, we always like to end each one of our episodes with setting our own kind of intention and mantra. And so we will do that here together today. It's bigger than you.
Thank you so much for listening today. We're excited, and we hope that you follow us on
Instagram, True Print for Life, YouTube channel, also True Print for Life. And make sure that you share, like, watch our videos. Make sure that you follow us on all streaming platforms.